Well, leaving politics rather aside for a moment, they're young, ambitious and have a flair for times gone by. They're Adelaide's caravan converters, transforming relics from the past into successful business ventures and leisure mobiles of today. Caroline Winter caught up with some of these passionate renovators who have given vintage vans a new lease on life.
It's a busy Friday evening in the heart of Adelaide's East End, where stall holders have come to sell their wares.
Hello, how are you?
Monique Bowley is among them.
Just one today? I just thought I'll stick to what I know, and I'm a lemonade maker from way back, so it just seemed like the perfect thing to just sell lemonade out of my little van.
The little van that could, as it's been named, has been given a fresh start. It was once a circus van selling donuts and fairy floss before being consigned to the scrap heap.
I think it was built in the 1950s, most people seem to think, and it's definitely a homemade job. It's sort of like a bit wonky here and there. One side doesn't quite match the other side. You can sort of see the welding marks. It's fantastic.
Monique spent 4 months bringing the van back to life, and when she's not selling her homemade lemonade at market days, she hires it out for weddings, parties, almost anything.
I am so proud. It's so silly, but sometimes people come up to the van and they'll say, "Whose van is this?" And I'll be like, "That's my van." It's so exciting. And a lot of the time people will say, "I can't believe you did this." And I'll say, "I can't believe I did it either."
The 29-year-old is part of a growing trend.
I think there's always been a vintage caravan movement out there, but it's always been these sort of baby boomer or retiree types that take these vans and restore them and do a really beautiful job. But it's great to see young people like me just having a crack at it too.
Hi guys, how you going?
Other young people like Sam Josephs. He's been frothing up a storm since starting up his mobile vintage coffee caravan business 2 years ago. Inspired by a love of the bean and a bygone era, Sam spent 6 months transforming the 1966 van from this to this. To completely set the scene, he's decked it out with paraphernalia from the time.
I wanted to keep it as traditional as possible, so I didn't want to mess around with the pattern of the colours or anything like that. I wanted to keep as much inside and outside of the caravan as original as possible.
He says the caravan has not only proved a fruitful business venture, but a conversation starter.
A lot of people come up and they do feel like sharing their story with you. They feel like they can relate to it, and it's a throwback from you know, their past memories and lives and stories. That one's for you.
But Sam's part-time passion has grown so much, he's opted to sell the business to a new owner.
I've got much more than just money out of it. Purpose, I think, you know, like a direction, somewhere to go, you know, an identity as well. You know, you walk around the city sometimes and people will come up to you and say, "Hey, you're that coffee guy."
Returning these once loved vans to their former glory days has become a labour of love for thousands across the nation. It's part of a revival of the boom years post-World War II, when caravanning came to represent the great Australian holiday.
The caravans coming out of Adelaide often featured stylish curves to the roofline and exposed timber ribbing in the ceilings.
And some of the caravans built then continue to delight today.
It brings back a lot of memories when we actually worked on that, designed it together with Dean Morton, the owner of Roadmaster.
We're a young family and we love holidaying, and then we had a connection with my grandfather, so we thought we'd try and source one of his vans and restore that I guess as a way of respect.
Kim Jepp and his family recently restored this 1963 caravan nearly 50 years after Jan Coppola, a former employee at Roadmaster, helped to build it.
I did wonder what would happen to them. I never expected to see one like this in this shape.
Kim Jepp says it was going to be a simple renovation, just a patch-up job.
It grew and grew, and before you know it, we've got a new aluminium roof and back in front, and windows back in front as well. Everything is as you see it as it was. Yeah, as far as hinging, the fridge is the original fridge. This is the original Laminex.
With a new lease on life, the newest addition to the family is helping to make new memories in a new age.
Do you ever think about perhaps where this van's been, what it's done in its life?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We've lied in here a few times and wondered whether the walls could talk.
Trevor Gill has recently authored a book on the history of caravanning and camping in South Australia. He says the Jeps are part of a growing breed.
Just in the last decade there's been a real groundswell of interest in discovering and restoring these old vans, and I think a lot of it's driven by the fact that people are trying to relive their childhood memories and perhaps to give their own children the same experiences that they had.
Vintage vanners from across Australia with pre-1970s caravans will meet in Adelaide in February for a national vintage caravan parade where they can share their passion for a time gone by.
Nice to see old things being given a new lease on life. Caroline Winter with that.